everybody, it's Heisennburgg here. So today I'm going to be showing you guys how to download and install Opethfeldt ENB. Personally, this is one of my favorite ENBs. It just has a perfect balance of vibrance and fantasy and realism. So I think you guys are really going to appreciate this video. Sorry about the probably about a week and a half delay since my last ENB installation video. I've had a few people move into my house, and I'm also starting my other series sometime this weekend, so I'm going to be juggling that, and it's hard to get a minute alone to do a video because I don't like doing videos when there's other people in the house. So, and I just reinstalled my game. I followed the step guide. So right now I have 318 active mods and 195 plugins, and my game is stable. So I highly recommend the Step Wiki Guide, the 2.29 version. But enough about that. I guess we'll get started with the Opethfeldt installation. If you're not already at the page, I'll give you a link for it in the description, so go ahead and head on to the page. And it has some information here about Crossfire X users for people that use the AMD Crossfire. And then under the installation, if you're switching to Opethfeldt from another ENB, go ahead and erase any evidences of an ENB. I'm going to show you a tool real quick. It's called the ENB FXAA SweetFX Manager and Remover. It basically deletes any instances of ENB that you have left over, but it does not delete the data files. So if you don't have this tool and you switch ENBs a lot, I would recommend getting this tool because you could just click remove and it uninstalls the ENB for you. But enough about that. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to download the 236 binary. So we are going to right click where it says here, and we're going to click open link in new tab. And it's going to take us to ENB dev. And we are going to click the version 236. And then just click this little download arrow right here, and it's going to start downloading. And you're going to need something that downloads archives, whether it would be WinRAR or 7-zip. Personally, I have both, so I can show people that use different archive managers how to extract things. So once you get a pop-up like this, you can go ahead and hit backspace, and you can drag and drop the archive onto your desktop, and we'll come back to that in just a minute. And then we can go ahead and close out of ENB dev. And then the next thing we're going to install is something called ENB helper. So where it says ENB helper in blue, we can right click that and click open link in new tab. And it'll bring us to a dev C page. And under the download section, go ahead and click download, and it'll immediately start downloading, and you should instantly get a pop-up like this. So again, just like we did with the archive binary, go ahead and hit backspace and drag and drop it onto your desktop, and we'll come right back to that in just a minute. And again, you can go ahead and close out of the ENB helper page. And then the next thing we're going to install is something called MindFlux's Skyrim particle patch. So go ahead and open link in new tab, and it's going to bring you to an ENB series ENB dev page. And under download, where it says particle patch all-in-one installation, go ahead and click on it, and it'll automatically start your installation. And I would also recommend downloading the subsurface scattering patch, so go ahead and click on that as well. Even though this ENB doesn't require it, I would still recommend you install it. So once you get a pop-up for the particle patch, just like we did with the other two archives, hit backspace and then drag and drop it onto your desktop. And I'll show you how to install that in a second, and do the same thing for the subsurface scattering patch. Just leave all these archives on your desktop. Sorry about that, guys. Am I like missing something? Oh, okay. Alright. And you could download this bonus stuff if you wanted to. It's really up to you. I'm not going to. So go ahead and close out. And then the next thing we're going to do, oh, real quick, the author recommends that you disable lighting mods, so Climates of Tamriel, ELFX, Realistic Lighting Overhaul. It's meant to be used with the vanilla game, so I'm going to go ahead and disable ELFX real quick. I probably should have did this before the video, but it's all good. So any instances of lighting that you have or weather mods, go ahead and deactivate them so the ENB will look like how it's supposed to look. And now we're going to go to the Files tab at the top of the page. And under Main Files, where it says Opethfeldt 7 Beta 3, go ahead and download that manually. And once you get a little pop-up like this, just like we did with all the other archives, we're going to hit backspace and we're going to drag and drop this onto our desktop. And then we can go back to the description. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to locate our Skyrim folder. And if you use Nexus Mod Manager, which I imagine most of you guys are, an easy way to find your Skyrim folder is clicking this orange folder right here and clicking Open Game Folder, and it will take you right to it. Basically where you see Skyrim Launcher and TESV, it may or may not have the EXE at the end. If it does, no worries, it's the same thing. But if you see these two executables, you're in the right place. Just make sure that you're not in your data folder where all your data files are, your ESPs, BSAs, ESMs, all that good stuff. But if you're not using Nexus Mod Manager, it's typically going to be loaded wherever you installed Steam. So Steam, Steam Apps, Common, and Skyrim. So we can go ahead and minimize our Skyrim folder for right now. This next step I'm about to show you is actually real quick. We're going to go ahead and install the particle patch and the subsurface scattering patch into our mod manager. So open up your mod manager and go to the mods tab, and where it says add mod from file, go ahead and click that. Make sure you're on your desktop. And then click on Skyrim particle patch all in one for ENB and click open, and it's automatically going to add that in there for you. And then do the same exact thing for the subsurface scattering patch. So this basically adds the ENB in there for you just as if you downloaded it with Manager. So once you do that, you can go ahead and delete both of the archives from your desktop so we don't have to worry about it anymore. And like I was saying before, this next step I'm about to show you is completely optional. But I would highly recommend you do it because it just makes things a lot easier. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the ENB Series 236 archive, and we're going to right click it, and if you use WinRAR, you're going to click Extract to ENB Series Skyrim 236, and if you use 7-zip, you can bring down this drop-down menu and click Extract to ENB Series Skyrim 236, and it's basically going to turn it into a folder. And we're going to do that for all of the archives, so right click, Extract to ENB Helper, and same with Opethfeldt. And if you decided to do this step, you can go ahead and delete all three of the archives because we're going to be dealing with them in a folder format. So we're going to go ahead and open up our Skyrim folder, and we're going to open up the ENB Series 236 binary file, and we're going to click the wrapper version. And we're only going to be copying the d3d9.dll file and the enbhost.exe file, and we're going to copy those, and then we're going to paste them into our Skyrim folder. And those are the only two files we need out of there, so we can go ahead and close out. And then the next thing we're going to do is open up the Opethfeldt 7 beta folder. And we're going to highlight everything in here except for the data folder. So make sure the data folder is unhighlighted. I will show you what to do with that in just a minute. So again, copy these and paste them into your Skyrim folder. Now for the data folder, what we're going to do is we're going to highlight it and then right click it and click Add to Archive. If you're using 7-zip, just bring down your menu and click Add to Archive. And it's going to bring up this menu here, and you can name it whatever you want. but obviously name it something pertaining to the ENB. So I'm going to name mine Opethfeldt ENB data and click OK. And it's going to make it into an archive. And then we're going to drag and drop this onto our desktop. And just like we did with the particle patch and subsurface scattering patch, we're going to click Add Mod from File, and we're going to open that up. And you can do this for any of the data files, so you don't have to manually drag and drop them into your data folder. So it's pretty great. So once you added your Opethfeldt data into your mod manager, go ahead and activate that. And whatever it asks to overwrite, just overwrite it. And I'm going to check my load order just to make sure. Alright, cool. So if you did this correctly, you should see Opeth Torch ESP and Opeth Weather ESP. And they should both be check marked, but if they're not check marked, make sure you check mark them. And then we're going to activate the particle patch. So go ahead and activate that. And you can activate the subsurface scattering patch if you want to, but the ENB, this ENB in particular, is not required to. I'm going to because I like it. I think it's a really cool patch. So once you've activated your data and your particle patch, and if you wanted to activate the subsurface scattering patch, you can. We are now going to go back to our Skyrim folder. Excuse me. You can delete this archive if you want. We're going to open up the ENB helper folder. And back in our Skyrim folder, we're going to open up the ENB series folder that we dragged and dropped from the Opethfeldt file. So go ahead and click on that. And we're just simply going to copy the enbhelper.dll file. And we're simply going to paste it into our ENB series file. And ENB helper is now installed. And we can pretty much delete all three of these because we're pretty much done with that. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to edit our Skyrim prefs.ini files. So, you can locate it in your Skyrim folder. You can click My Documents, My Games, and Skyrim, and if you see Skyrim.ini and Skyrim prefs.ini, you're in the right place. But you may or may not see .ini at the end of these files. If you don't see the .ini there, don't worry about it. It's the same thing. So go ahead and open it up. And an easy way to do this is just double click on the setting that needs to be edited and go Control-C, and what that does is copies it. And then we can go back to our Notepad and do Control-F to find it, and then Control-V to paste it. And mine already equals 0. This basically disables anti-aliasing. So for the next one, Control-C, Control-F, and Control-V. So I gotta change mine to 1. Control-C, Control-F, Control-V. B float point render target is probably the most important setting of all of these, so please make sure it's set to 1. So Control-C, Control-F, Control-V. And if for some reason you don't have, I believe the setting that is not in the Skyrim prefs.ini on default is the B shadows on grass. So if you don't see that there, just add it manually and you'll be good to go. So Control-C, Control-F, and Control-V. Yeah, I believe it is B shadows on grass. It's not there. So if this is the first time you're installing an ENB, you're more than likely going to have to add this in there yourself, which is totally fine. Alright, so if you had to edit anything, File, Save. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to our Skyrim folder and we're going to edit our ENBLOCAL.INI files. So you should see back in our Skyrim folder where we copied and pasted all the ENB files, you should see a file called ENBLOCAL, and it may or may not have .ini at the end of it, but it's the same thing regardless. So go ahead and open that up. And we're only going to be editing two settings in here, which is our reserved memory size MB. I put mine at 512, but it can go as low as 128 or 256, but you can Google it to find out like what your correct setting is. And then video memory size MB is how much VRAM your system has. And I have 3 gigabytes, so I'm going to do 3072. And if you don't know how much VRAM you have, you're going to have to find out, because making sure the setting is correct is very important. So once you've edited those two settings pertaining to your system, file and save it. And we can go ahead and close out. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go back to our Skyrim folder and we're going to open up the Skyrim launcher. And you should get a window that looks something like this. We're going to click Options. And where it says Anti-Aliasing, we're going to make sure that's set to off. And then where it says the AF, make sure that's set to off as well. And once both of those are set to off, go ahead and click OK. And since we had to add 2 plugins into our load order, we are going to run loot before we go in-game. So wherever you have loot installed, go ahead and run that, or if you're still using Boss, go ahead and do that. Alright guys, I will see you in-game. Alright guys, so when your game loads up, if you did everything correctly, you should get a message like this in your top left-hand corner that pretty much tells you that you installed your binary files correctly, so that's a really good sign. If you press Shift-Enter, usually it'll bring up a GUI menu where you can tweak your ENB further. But yeah, sometimes each ENB is different with how the menu comes up. Oh, there we go. Shift page down brings it up for Opethfeldt, and you can tweak the ENB further through here if you wanted to for performance. So shift page down to get out of it. And we're now going to load up our game. And if you wanted to know how I got up this frames per second counter, I did shift end. So if you don't have an FPS counter, that's a cool little trick on how to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and load up my game. Alright guys, so I'm in game right now, but I'm going to go ahead and wait because obviously it's nighttime. I want you guys to be able to see the potential of this ENB. And as you can see, I was getting 30 frames per second, but the true test will come once this menu goes away. Alright, so this is what Opethfeldt looks like. 30 frames right now. If I look over here, I think I was getting 50. I'm going to go ahead and wait a little bit longer. Hopefully I get like a good sunrise shot or something. But yeah, this is what Opethfeldt ENB looks like. Like I said earlier, this is one of my personal favorite ENBs of all time. I just think it's really fantastic. It has a perfect balance, like I said at the beginning of the video, of realism and just anything that you want. So, Like I said, I have my new series starting sometime this weekend. It's a Skyrim mod comparison series, and I'm probably going to name it Skyrim Differentials, so shout out to my friend Eddie Witten for helping me come up with that name. It's pretty ideal, but I'm going to go ahead and end this video here, guys, so if you have any problems with getting this ENB installed, please let me know and I will assist you in the best way that I can. I have absolutely no problems helping anybody out that really needs help, so, and again, if you have another ENB installation video that you would like me to assist you on how to install, just let me know and I will make the video for you. I've absolutely, like I just said, I have absolutely no problem helping you guys out, so, again, this is Heisennburgg, and I will hope to be seeing you guys on my new series coming up, and I will hope to see you guys in the next ENB video that I do. So again, thanks for watching, and I hope this helped you out. See you later.